The phone rang at 3 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, interrupting Maya Rodriguez in the middle of a presentation about digital marketing strategies. The number was unknown, but something made her answer. Hello, is this Maya Rodriguez who graduated from Lincoln High in 2014? The voice was gentle, a bit hoarse, from an older man. Maya frowned, pausing the PowerPoint presentation. Yes, that's me. Who's speaking? Mr. Peterson, I was the school janitor. Listen, they're going to demolish the building next week and I found something that belongs to you. A letter. It was in your old locker, number 247. Maya felt a strange sensation in her stomach. A letter? After almost 10 years? What kind of letter? Addressed to you, dated May 2014. From someone named Ethan Parker. Ethan Parker. The name hit Maya like lightning. Her heart raced instantly and she had to sit down. Ethan. The boy with green eyes and shy smile who made her stomach flutter every time he looked in her direction during literature class. Are you still there, dear? Asked Mr. Peterson. Yes, thank you for calling. Can I come pick it up? Of course. But hurry. Demolition starts Monday. Maya canceled her afternoon meetings and drove the 2 hours from Chicago to Milwaukee with her heart in her throat. As her BMW traveled the familiar roads, memories began to emerge like an emotional avalanche. Ethan Parker. How could she have pretended she barely remembered him? He had been her secret obsession throughout high school. The quiet, intense boy who sat 2 rows behind her in advanced literature, always scribbling in his notebooks, always with a different book under his arm. Maya remembered perfectly how her heart would race when he raised his hand to answer one of Mrs. Walker's questions. His voice was soft but full of depth, and his answers always revealed a sensitivity that made something inside her vibrate. She had spent years convincing herself she was in love with Jake Mitchell, the popular quarterback everyone expected her to date. But on lonely nights, when she lay in bed staring at the ceiling, it was Ethan who occupied her thoughts. It was his shy smile she imagined, his green eyes that made her sigh. During high school, Maya had created dozens of excuses to walk past his desk. Forgot pens so she'd have to borrow them. Volunteered for group projects hoping to be paired with him. Memorized his class schedule to casually be in the same hallways. But she had never had the courage to say anything. Maya Rodriguez was the perfect girl, popular, the quarterback's girlfriend. Ethan Parker was the misunderstood artist, too quiet, too different. At least that's what she told herself. In reality, she was terrified of the intensity of what she felt for him. The school building looked smaller and sadder than she remembered. Mr. Peterson was waiting for her at the entrance with a yellowed envelope that made Maya's heart stop when she saw it. It was well hidden behind the textbooks at the back of your locker, he explained, handing her the envelope. Who would have thought we'd find this after all these years? Maya held the envelope with trembling hands. The handwriting of her name was unmistakably Ethan's. She had spent hours admiring that same handwriting in his notebooks during classes. Back at her Chicago apartment, Maya poured herself a glass of wine and sat on the sofa, the envelope still sealed in her hands. Part of her was terrified of what she might find inside. When she finally opened it, 2 sheets of paper fell into her lap, covered with the familiar handwriting. Maya. I'm writing this letter knowing I probably won't ever have the courage to deliver it. Tomorrow I'm moving to Portland with my family, and I can't leave carrying this secret. I am hopelessly in love with you. Maya let out a moan. The words seemed to dance on the page. I know you're with Jake and I know you probably don't even know I exist. But I need to tell you because if I don't, I'll regret it for the rest of my life. You have no idea how hard it is to sit behind you every day, breathe the scent of your hair, hear your laugh and pretend I'm paying attention in class. Every time you turn around to get something from your bag, my heart stops. When you asked to borrow that pen in September, I kept it like it was a treasure. Tears began streaming down Maya's face. She remembered that pen. A common blue Bic. She had asked Ethan specifically because she wanted an excuse to talk to him. I noticed that you always choose to sit near the window when you can, because you like to look at the sky when you're thinking. I noticed that you drum your fingers on the desk when you're nervous, always in the same sequence. I noticed that you blush when Mrs. Walker praises your essays, even though you're the best writer in class. Most of all, I notice the moments when you look at me. And I swear that sometimes, just sometimes, I feel there's something in your eyes that gives me hope. Maya stopped breathing. He had noticed. Ethan had realized she was looking at him. After all those years trying to be discreet, he knew. I wrote a poem about you for every day I've been in love. That's 847 poems, Maya. Almost 3 years of poetry about how you light up any room you enter, about how your passion for old stories makes me want to be a better writer, about how I'd give anything for 5 minutes of real conversation with you. Ashley Chin offered to deliver this letter during the graduation party. I'll be there waiting. If you show up and want to talk, I'll know that maybe, just maybe, I'm not the only one who feels this. If you don't show up, I'll understand. And I'll spend the rest of my life loving you in silence. Forever yours, Ethan. Piss, I know about Jake, but I also know you're not happy with him. It's in your eyes. I hope someday you find someone who loves you the way you deserve to be loved. Maya was sobbing now, years of regret and pain pouring out all at once. 847 poems. He had written 847 poems about her. And she had spent graduation night glued to Jake's arm, pretending to be happy, when in reality her heart was breaking because she was graduating without ever having had the courage to talk to the only boy who really mattered. Over the next few days, Maya became an obsessed detective. She canceled appointments, lied about being sick, and spent every free moment investigating what had happened to her letter. Her first clue came from an unexpected source. She found Ashley Chin, now Ashley Parker, on LinkedIn. The last name made her freeze. Parker. As in Ethan Parker. Maya called Ashley, her hands shaking. Maya Rodriguez. What a wonderful surprise. Ashley, I need to talk to you about something urgent. Do you still live in Milwaukee? Actually, I live in Portland now. My fiancé and I moved here last year. There was something in Ashley's voice that seemed guilty? Why do you ask? Ashley, I received a letter from Ethan Parker. A letter from 2014 that you were supposed to deliver to me at the graduation party. The silence on the other end of the line was deafening. Ashley, are you there? Maya. I can explain. Then explain. Ashley sighed deeply. Can you come to Portland? This isn't a phone conversation. 2 days later, Maya was sitting in Ashley's living room in Portland, looking at engagement photos that made her feel nauseous. In the photos, Ashley smiled radiantly next to a man Maya recognized immediately, even after almost 10 years. Ethan. Taller, more mature, with stubble that made him look even more handsome. But they were the same green eyes, the same gentle smile that had haunted Maya's dreams for years. He doesn't know you're here, Ashley said, serving tea with nervous hands. Ethan is at work. Ashley, I need to know exactly what happened to my letter. Ashley sat down, avoiding eye contact. I never delivered it. Why? Because I was in love with him. The confession hit Maya like a punch. What? I was in love with Ethan since freshman year. I knew he liked you, everyone knew. It was in his eyes every time he looked in your direction. Ashley wiped her eyes. When he gave me the letter to deliver, I read it. I saw how desperately he loved you and I couldn't. I couldn't deliver something I knew would bring you two together. So you hid it. I put it in your locker thinking you'd find it later. But you never found it, and then Ethan moved and And you what, Ashley? I moved to Portland 2 years later. To the same college as him. I said it was a coincidence. Ashley was crying now. I spent years being the friend who consoled him about you. Years listening to him talk about the girl he loved in high school, about how he had waited for you at the party and you never showed up. Maya felt like the world was spinning. How long have you been together? 5 years. He proposed last month. Ashley took off the ring as if it burned. Maya, I love Ethan. I really do. But I know he never loved me the way he loved you. I was always the second choice, the consolation prize. Ashley, you need to tell him. I can't. I'd lose everything. You've already lost everything, Ashley. You built a relationship on a lie. Maya didn't wait for Ashley to decide. She got Ethan's address and drove straight to the office where he worked as a freelance screenwriter. The building was modern, full of creative startups and media companies. Maya felt out of place in her executive suit, but she didn't care. She had waited 10 years for this moment. Ethan was getting off the elevator when she arrived at the lobby. They saw each other at the same time and the world stopped. He was even more handsome in person. Taller than she remembered, with broader shoulders and a presence that radiated creative confidence. But when their eyes met, Maya saw the same shy boy who used to watch her during classes. Maya? He looked like he was seeing a ghost. Hi, Ethan. They stood in the middle of the lobby, people walking around them, but Maya felt like they were the only two people in the world. What are you doing here? I got your letter. Ethan's face lost all color. My letter? Maya pulled the envelope from her pocket. The letter Ashley was supposed to deliver to me in 2014. Ethan looked at the envelope like it was a bomb. But how? I can explain everything. But not here. Maya looked around the busy lobby. Can we talk somewhere private? They went to a small cafe near Ethan's office. Maya told him everything: Mr. Peterson's call, finding the letter, discovering that Ashley had read and deliberately hidden it. Ashley did that? Ethan looked devastated. She knew about the letter all this time? She was in love with you, Ethan. She moved to Portland to follow you. Ethan ran his hands through his hair, clearly in shock. I always thought you just weren't interested. When you didn't show up at the party, I assumed. Ethan, I did show up at the party. He looked up, surprised. I showed up, but I spent the whole night with Jake because that's what everyone expected. I wanted to talk to you, but... Maya felt the tears returning. I was terrified. Terrified of what? Of you. Of what I felt for you. Maya took a deep breath. Ethan, I was so in love with you in high school it physically hurt. But I was a coward. I was afraid of what people would think, afraid of not being reciprocated, afraid of ruining the perfect image everyone had of me. Ethan stared at her, incredulous. You liked me? Liked? Ethan, I was obsessed with you. I memorized your class schedule. I made up excuses to walk past your desk. I kept that pen you lent me like it was a treasure. You kept the pen? Maya laughed through her tears. I still have it. They sat in silence for a long moment, the weight of a decade of misunderstandings heavy between them. So we both. Ethan began. We were both in love with each other and were too young and too cowardly to do anything about it, Maya finished. And Ashley knew. Ashley knew. Ethan canceled the rest of his workday. They walked through Portland streets aimlessly, talking about everything they had lost, about the relationships they'd had trying to fill the void left by each other. I wrote about you, Ethan confessed when they stopped on a bridge over the river. For years. Stories, screenplays, poems. Always a girl who looked like you, who acted like you. I looked for you, Maya admitted. In every city I visited, in every cafe I entered. I knew it was ridiculous, but there was a part of me that always hoped to find you. Maya, I need to tell you something about Ashley. What? I'm marrying her in 3 months. We already sent the invitations, booked the venue, she chose the dress. Ethan looked anguished. But now, knowing all this, do you love her? Ethan hesitated for a long time. I thought I did. But now I realize I never really knew the real Ashley. The woman I thought I was marrying would never have hidden a letter like that. Would never have lied for years. What if she hadn't hidden the letter? Then we would have had our chance 10 years ago. They turned to face each other on the bridge, and Maya felt the same electricity she used to feel in high school when Ethan looked at her. Ethan. I know. This is crazy. 10 years have passed. We're different people now. Are we? He studied her for a long moment. No, we're not. You still bite your lip when you're nervous. You still have that sparkle in your eyes when you're passionate about an idea. And I still feel like the world stops when you look at me. What happened next was like an emotional roller coaster. Ethan went home and confronted Ashley, who finally confessed everything through hysterical tears. She begged for forgiveness, promised she would do anything to fix it, swore she truly loved him. But it was too late. Trust had been irreparably broken. How could Ethan marry someone who had deliberately sabotaged his happiness for years? I need time, he told Ashley that night. I need to think. Ashley packed her bags and went to her parents' house. Ethan canceled the wedding temporarily, he told himself. But deep down he knew it wasn't temporary. Maya extended her stay in Portland. They met every day, walking through the city, talking about their lives, slowly rediscovering each other. You know, this might not work out, Maya said one afternoon as they walked through Washington Park. We idealized each other for 10 years. Reality might be different. It might be, Ethan agreed. But what if it's not? What if we're even better together now than we would have been at 18? 2 months later, Ethan officially canceled the wedding. Ashley tried one last time to convince him, but he had made his decision. They had built a relationship on a foundation of lies, and there was no recovering from that. Maya requested a transfer to her company's Seattle office, close enough to Portland for them to try to make it work, far enough for her to maintain her independence. On their first official date, dinner at a small, intimate Italian restaurant, they were both nervous as teenagers. This is weird, Maya admitted, laughing. After all these years fantasizing about what this would be like now that we're here. Now we're terrified, Ethan finished, smiling. But the awkwardness lasted only a few minutes. Soon they were talking as if they hadn't spent a day apart. The connection they had felt in high school was stronger than ever, now tempered with maturity and life experience. 6 months later they were inseparable. Ethan moved to Seattle to be closer to Maya. They bought a small house with an ocean view, with an office where Ethan could write and a garden where Maya discovered she had a talent for gardening. Do you ever wonder what it would have been like if we had gotten together in high school? Maya asked one night as they lay in bed, watching the stars through the bedroom window. Every day, Ethan admitted. But then I think maybe we weren't mature enough. Maybe we needed to live our separate lives for a while so we could be together now the right way. Do you think Ashley did us a favor? No. The answer was immediate. Ashley stole 10 years from us. But I choose to believe we managed to transform that pain into something beautiful. A year and a half after discovering the letter, Ethan proposed to Maya on the same bridge where they had reconciled. He had written a new poem for her, number 848 in the collection he had started in high school. The wedding was small and intimate, on a beach in Oregon with only families and closest friends. Maya wore a simple vintage lace dress, and Ethan couldn't stop crying when he saw her walking toward him. During the vows, Ethan read the poem he had written for her. I loved you in silence for 847 days in high school, and then I loved you in dreams for 3,653 days of separation. But now I love you out loud, without fear, without regret, and I promise to love you for all the days we have left, until there are more days together than days apart, until our story is bigger than our absence. There wasn't a dry eye at the ceremony. Mr. Peterson, whom they had invited as a special guest, was the one who declared them husband and wife. Sometimes, he said, smiling, letters arrive exactly when they're supposed to. During the reception, Maya danced in Ethan's arms and whispered in his ear, "It was worth the wait." "It would have been worth waiting 1,000 more years," he whispered back. And as they danced under the stars, both knew they had found something rare and precious, a love that had survived time, distance, misunderstandings, and betrayals. A love that was tested and approved, that became stronger in adversity. Some letters get lost so we can appreciate them even more when they finally arrive. And some love stories are so powerful that not even a decade of separation can destroy them. Maya and Ethan proved that true love knows no expiration date. It just waits patiently until the right moment comes to flourish.